So that's good. Mic's on. Gotta figure out my... You are now live. The internet can totally see you now. That's cool. Okay, let me figure out how to get my chat here for a second. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I want to see the chat. Okay, the chat. Okay. Hey, we are live. Just started early, even though it's not exactly time yet. Not exactly time yet. That's okay. I will go post on social media and let them know that we're streaming live on the YouTubes. Let me see if I can see it on my phone. I don't think there's any way to post the link to the stream from my phone. The answer is no, there is not. I can try again. Let me see if I can get a thumbnail for this stream. I'm just singing little songs, and this live is in beta. Change thumbnail. Oh, I don't have any files. I don't have any files for this. Do I have a picture of me, maybe? No, I don't. This is a new computer. I don't have none of that. Oh, how to make it go? Okay. Whatever. I don't know if there is a thumbnail. I guess maybe there isn't a thumbnail. That's okay. Ooh! It's holding up. Buffering. Why are you buffering? Make sure my Wi-Fi is connected. It is. I don't like watching the buffer. But you know how it is. Okay. No one's here yet. That's okay. Time elapsed. 25 seconds. So maybe it's not really buffering. Maybe I just, on my screen over here, it's like held up. That's okay. What's going on over here? Alrighty. Sweetness. Yeah. So if y'all are here, that's cool. If not, that's also cool. Yeah, it's me. Mario. Not Mario. Oh, okay. We got analytics. That's fun. Twitter. Oh, there's the Twitter. We'll post another message to the Twitter. Still no one here. But that's okay. I don't mind. I can talk to myself. I do it all the time when I record regular videos. I talk to myself. But it's just like a little weird. So I'm gonna wait for y'all, and that's cool because I said I was streaming at 5 and it's 5:02, so it's not a big deal. Okay. I'm gonna go on to the Depression Army YouTube. So 4th of July threw me through a loop. So I didn't know what day it was. I didn't realize Tuesday was coming so soon. So, it's not that I didn't prepare a video. Woo! I did prepare a video. I just wanted to stream it. And we were going to use Tumblr, but it turns out Tumblr doesn't really have live streaming ready. So, I think if this don't work, because no one's here yet. then I think next time we'll use YouTube. I mean, this is YouTube. We'll use Facebook. So I don't normally use the Twitter, but when I do, it's to promote myself on YouTube. Okay, so here's the thing about YouTube Live is that there's no way to really promote yourself. So boop 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 boop. I'm not using a beta next time. I mean, they're probably all on beta. This whole live streaming thing. Like first it was Periscope. I don't know what was that. I wonder if Instagram's ever gonna get live video. This is weird that this is paused. Weird. I'll wait like 15 more minutes. I don't know how long I'm gonna wait here. I was gonna talk about self-diagnosis and the pros and cons. That might not happen. So yeah, so I'm on my phone trying to find the stream and I can't find it. So I guess maybe no one can find it mobile. Maybe that's the problem. Is you've got to be on your computer to see it. Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. Call my name and take me from the dawn. Oh! People showed up. Cool. Alright, I'll stop talking. Not stop talking. I'll start talking now. Oh, wait, let me check the chat. Chat. No one's here. But that's okay. I can see people watching. Hi. Okay. I'm gonna start. Okay, so I wanted to talk about self-diagnosis and the pros and cons of self-diagnosis. So okay, so my story's a little weird. I know that I always say that I was diagnosed, which is partially true. Okay, so I was diagnosed when I was young with ADHD, which sometimes can be a misdiagnosis, but in this case it was definitely a correct diagnosis. Which only got more and more apparent when I got older. So, I was diagnosed with ADHD by my doctor, by my pediatrician. And then when I was 11, I went to therapy for anxiety that my mom took me to. And I was like, I was less than 11. I was like 10, 11. I was like 11 because I was in middle school. I didn't really know what was going on. That was like a weird experience for me because I didn't really know what anxiety was. And she was like, "Oh, you're anxious." For some reason, I like equated it to stage fright because I was into like acting and stuff. And I was like, I don't really have stage fright. I don't know why I'm here for that. I don't know what you're talking about. So, and then as time passed, and I realized that I was a really dumb 11-year-old. But anyway. So I wasn't like diagnosed by a pediatrician, but I was taken to therapy, which was suggested by I don't know if it's suggested by my pediatrician or anything. I had lots of therapies. I think it was suggested by my occupational therapist, of all people. So, yeah, yo, I say to the chat. So yeah, I lost my stream of thought because you guys know ADHD. Okay, so backtrack. Anxiety. Okay, so yeah, so I don't know. I guess like I was diagnosed because I went to therapy and the therapist was like, "Yeah, you need to be here." So I guess that counts as a diagnosis, and yeah, I count that as a diagnosis. Though it wasn't by like a psychologist. And then when I was 13, I went to therapy, like counseling. It was kind of like a Christian counseling thing, um, or mostly for depression. Um, and she never told me like, oh, you don't need to be here because you're not depressed. So I'm pretty sure going to therapy to depression means I have depression. So that's what I'm counting as diagnosis. Is my mic peaking? Looks like it sounds loud. Anyway, so yeah, so that's my diagnosis story. It's a little untraditional, and so I never really thought about like my diagnosis until I got into college and I started my psych degree, and then I started learning about like depression, anxiety, and everything else, and I was like, we were learning about like different types of anxiety and different types of depression, and I was just like, oh, like, do I have a specific one of these? Do I need to go get diagnosed? Like, do I need to go to a psychiatrist? Um, and then like eventually I realized like no, I knew that I have these things. I was I wasn't properly diagnosed by a psychiatrist, but I was looked at by mental health professionals who knew that I had these things because they were treating them, even if they never said to my face, "Hey, you have depression, you have anxiety." Um, I was being treated for those things, therefore I have them. So what about people who didn't even have like what I had, didn't even go to therapy of any kind, and just walk around saying, "Hey, I have depression, or I have anxiety, or I have bipolar, or something along those lines." So gotta be careful what I say because I can't edit myself out, so that's a little tough. But so if somebody is saying that they're depressed or they're anxious, don't dismiss them by saying, well, you don't have a professional diagnosis, so you're not those things. Because chances are, if you think that you have some sort of mental illness, you probably do. You might not be able to hit the nail on the head. Like, you may think you have depression and then you end up having bipolar or what have you. So I don't think that you should immediately dismiss people who think that they have diagnoses before being diagnosed. But here's the other side of it. I don't think that if you've never been diagnosed, I don't think you should walk around saying you have bipolar. You probably shouldn't walk around saying you have... You shouldn't tell people... Right. So I guess you can tell people that, like, you're going through some depression if you haven't been properly diagnosed, because chances are you probably are. However, if you use depression or anxiety as an excuse, especially if you haven't been properly diagnosed, you just aren't going to be taken seriously. That's just the fact of it. That happens. So another one of my pet peeves about diagnosis is OCD. OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder, is an anxiety disorder, actually. So a lot of people think anxiety might actually have OCD, but might not. So, okay, hold on, let me back up a little bit. So a lot of people are like, oh, I like my socks arranged a certain way, I have OCD. Not necessarily. And one thing is, you might have a certain compulsion, but you don't have obsessive compulsive disorder. So especially with anxiety, if you have anxiety disorder, like for me, I have an anxiety disorder, and let me see if I can find it. So yeah, I have an anxiety disorder, and this here is my purse, and I have a compulsion so I got my phone, my sunglasses, and my wallet, also my keys. But my keys are clipped to the outside of my bag, and so I always know what they are. So when I have my bag with me, about every like 10 or 15 minutes, I have to, like, first I have to reach to make sure my purse is there, but then I check to make sure my keys are jingling on the outside of my purse. So I usually grab them and go jingle, jingle, jingle about 3 times. And then I reach into my purse and I feel around and I can feel like, okay, phone, wallet, sunglasses. Phone, wallet, sunglasses. Then I can stop for a bit. But so that's like a compulsion, but I definitely don't have obsessive compulsive disorder. If you can see by the state of my bedroom. Yeah, you can see that. It's one my bookshelf over there looks pretty nice. Well, now if you really saw, there's like a ton of books behind there, but my bed back there is my Star Wars bed sheets. Pretty awesome. I got my Star Wars shirt on. So yeah. So I don't tell people I have obsessive compulsive disorder just because I have a weird compulsion about, I can't get my camera centered, a weird compulsion about having my keys and pulling my hair up, my phone and my sunglasses in my purse. That doesn't mean I have obsessive compulsive disorder. In the same way, if I wouldn't personally, it's a personal decision, I personally wouldn't tell people I have like depression. Okay, so here's the thing. Because I was never like diagnosed by a psychiatrist with like a proper like this is your exact diagnosis. I don't ever try to go around and being like, oh, I have, chronic clinical depression, or I have, depressive mood or whatever. I usually just like if I'm going through like a depressive period, I'll usually be like, yeah, I'm going through a depressive period right now, So, with anxiety, I am guilty. I have told people I have social anxiety because it's very tempting to me because I study psychology. I am an undergrad student, so I'm not qualified to diagnose anyone or anything. But I tend to diagnose myself. So I tend to tell people I have social anxiety because a lot of my anxieties are social, but they're not completely. And which is why it's so basically, in conclusion, if you have if you think you have anxiety and depression, it's probably beneficial to tell people that you have anxiety and depression even if you haven't been diagnosed. Because I think that's helpful. Because it can be helpful to tell people. Though, of course, the first thing you should do, of course, is find a professional if you can and tell a professional. And get correctly diagnosed. But, now if you want to seek treatment, the first thing you need to do is get diagnosed, I think. And then there's this whole other, there's a whole other topic for another day about diagnosis being dumb. A lot of psychiatrists don't diagnose. Like, for real, they'll examine your symptoms and they'll treat you for your symptoms. They won't even like give you like, okay, you have paranoid schizophrenia, or that's an extreme case, but they won't tell you what they don't label you. They'll just treat your symptoms, and I think that's pretty cool. However, sometimes labels are good. I like having certain labels to describe me because it helps relate, and it helps like this community, like Depression Army. Like, we have depression. We're not just like a mix of generally sad people. The other thing is just the term mental illness. A lot of people like to use it as an umbrella term. A lot of people don't like to use it as an umbrella term because it might make you look crazier than you are, make you look crazy. That C word, that a lot of people don't like the C word, crazy. So, there's so many, I could talk about this for years, but our head honcho, nobody, I think a lot of people don't know this because Depression Army is kind of faceless, and there's only 4 people watching, and some of them are probably the people I'm talking about, but we have our small group of interns. Each runs our own social media page, and Dr. R is our head honcho. And as you know, what's really funny is that most of the information I regurgitate to you guys is stuff I learned from his lectures. So yeah, I don't think he knows that, but yeah, so yeah, so I could go on and on and on and on and on for ages about this topic. But yeah, so there's only 4 of you, but does anybody have any questions about what I think about self-diagnosis and not diagnosis? Wait, how do I chat back? Chat. I did it like once and now I can't type. There we go. This would be nice, like, to do like a topic, and then go back and ask questions or read questions that were mentioned in the chat if they were. I might try Periscope because our Twitter is the largest. Though I know how to use Facebook. Okay, 2 people. Alright. Well, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Let me know what you guys... Oh, now there's 5 people. Ooh, interesting. So I wonder if I should stay on for longer, because I feel like the longer I stream, the longer. Okay. Well, no asking questions. I guess I'll continue on what I was talking about. What was I talking about? I was talking about labels. So, the DSM is on its... I'm gonna get this wrong, but I think it's on its 5th, edition. So, that means that, well, it's gone through a lot of changes since it started. And if you don't know the DSM, oh, sorry, a lot of people don't know this. The DSM is a diagnostic statistic manual, and that's what psychologists open up and look in to see what you have. And basically what it is there'll be different diagnosis, like labels diagnosis, and several criteria that usually have like certain like tiers. Like I know that, no, I can't think of any right now. Let me think about diagnoses. I don't know, like narcissism would be, you have to display like self-centeredness, selfishness, disregard for others' feelings, lack of empathy. You have to like exhibit at least 3 of those things, right? So that's how diagnosis works. It doesn't mean you exhibit every single trait listed for a certain diagnosis. It means you exhibit a certain number of those traits that qualify for you having that thing, which is why it's really tricky, especially when like they cross over. So, for example, depression and anxiety tend to cross over. If you have depression, you have anxiety. If you have anxiety, you tend to have depression. Also, the diagnoses are very similar. Which tends to be why, so like chances are if you're not going to get misdiagnosed, and that's not going to be that big of a deal. However, I did have a friend who was misdiagnosed with, I believe she was misdiagnosed with a personality disorder when really she had bipolar. So, like, that's a thing that can happen. So, because bipolar is a mood disorder, and a personality disorder is a personality disorder, which is a lot more of a deal. So, it's just harder to treat. So, yeah. I'm gonna do another one of these, just about like general psychology questions. I'd love to talk about different types of treatments and different types of, like, what kind of treatment I've been through, what kind of treatment I want to do, yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay, so thanks for watching, the 2 people who are left. Bye!